Welcome to These Nuts Garage, and today we're going to be working on the back end of old Phil here. Alright, like I said in the intro, what we're going to be doing today is working on the back of old Phil. Now, Phil is a retired, we'll call it police unit, police vehicle from the city of McKenzie, Tennessee. This used to ride around town and a detective drove it. So it wasn't all striped up like a regular police car, but it did have a lot of lights on it, I'm assuming, because I pulled a ton of wires out of this thing for the lights. Had lights in the front, I think in the front visors, maybe in the front grille, had a siren up there in the front grille. I think it had lights in the side of the truck. I know it had strobe lights in all four corners, tail lights and headlights. It also had some lights right here. Lights right here. Basically what they did is they just screwed some lights to the back of the hatch, drilled holes for the wires to go through, and then that's how they done it. Well, the big thing that I'm going to be doing with this is I'm going to be repairing this, but I'm not going to take off the hatch and put a new one on. I'm not going to be cutting these out and welding in new metal and sanding all that, because that just takes too much time. And I have none of that. Time and money, two things I'm short on. So what I've done is went on eBay, and I'll put the link in the description below in the comments somewhere. If you can't find it, just look around. I bought some flush mount spotlights, and what that'll do is I'll probably hook them up on a switch later on. Today I'm not going to be wiring them up. I'm just wanting to get the holes cut, get them inserted, and be done with it as far as that goes. I've also thought about hooking them up to my reverse lights, so when I put the truck in reverse they just automatically come on. And I'm thinking, well, that might be kind of bright and annoying to people that might be in the Walmart parking lot. So probably I'll put them on a switch later on, but like I said, right now I'm not going to be hooking them up as far as today goes. I may throw some juice to them, let you see how bright they are, but I'm not going to be wiring them up permanently. The next thing we're going to do is, since you probably saw me backing in, I didn't have a third brake light. That third brake light, that back bulbs or whatever's in there all bad. That little wiring harness that comes out's bad, so I've ordered a new one of those. Have it over there. I've also ordered a new wiper motor, because the back of this truck doesn't have one of them things. The wiper motor is bad, and I want to get it fixed because where our farm is in Tennessee, when you're going down the dirt road, your back window your truck gets completely covered. You can't see out, and if it's raining, it's kind of hard to see out of these trucks when it's raining and all that water just sits on it. So we're going to be replacing the wiper motor as well, and I'm hoping that's what's wrong with it, because I didn't evaluate the situation. I just ordered a motor and said we're going to throw that in there. So that's the other thing, and maybe, I don't know, but if it's not today, it'll be in another video or just an extension of this video. But I have new tail lights for this truck. So in the front video before, I replaced all the headlights in the front, marker lights, fog lamps. I added fog lamps to it, new grille, all of that stuff to the front, kind of gave the front a facelift. So I guess we're going to give Phil a butt lift, rear lift, something like that. We're going to make it look better. Just going to make his rear end look better today. So let's get started on that, and I'll show you the parts that we're going to be installing today real quick, and then I'll show you how we're going to go about cutting out these holes for these flush mount spotlights. Alright, so this is going to be the spot lamps we're going to be installing in the back of this truck. Now, I bought two of these for $27 off of eBay. Now, you can get a set of these like this from AutoZone. I think they're about $30 a piece if you get them from AutoZone. Now, the only thing that I can see different, maybe the maker or whatever, but I think when you order them from AutoZone, they come with a gasket here. They also come with a template that you can use to measure on whatever you're going to cut. You tape it to it and mark it and cut it out. These did not come with a template, and nor did they come with a gasket, I do not believe. So what I'm going to have to do is, when I get everything cut out, marked, and get ready to finally install these, I have some RTV black sealant. I'm just going to kind of run around this edge right here, so that way when I push it in for the final time, it'll get a good seal, and don't have to worry about it leaking inside the truck. So these are the spot lamps. I have two of them on the back. All right, so this is going to be the third brake light. Kind of chrome, going to match the tail lights that'll be in here when they come in. It also has like a white strip in there, and I guess that's what lights up red. I'm not really putting any LEDs on the outside of the truck other than maybe these spotlights. And I think these may be LEDs, but they're not singled out, I don't think. We'll find out when we get them hooked up. But, because I'm just using regular bulbs for the truck. I'm not getting all that LED, everything on the tail lights and all that stuff, just not going to. But we'll be installing this third brake light, and it's just a plug and play type situation. Now I may have some wiring issues up here because of the water that's gotten in, just years of age on that harness. So I may be trimming that back, cutting this off, and putting it all together as one. All right, so this is going to be the wiper motor, the rear wiper motor. I'm ordered this off eBay as well. I'm thinking it's a used part. I didn't really do a lot of testing on the one back here, but I think this is the right part. If it's not, well, I'll just order another one. It says it fits my truck, but you really don't know till you try to see if it fits. Alrighty, so I'm up on the top of the truck. You may hear a bunch of people in the background talking. Where we're staying at, they are building this set of apartments. I know there's some landscapers over there doing some stuff, and it's hot. I'm sweating. I'm in this garage, but it's better being out in the sun doing that landscaping over there. So I'm just basically going to unclick this old one. You can see, I mean, it's got a crack in it right there and a bunch of other goodness. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but this bulb doesn't work. All of this is just finally met its end of its road. Now, you can see this black tape around it. I'm gonna cut all this off, see if I can't get up in here a little bit somewhere and just cut this wire off and just hook them up to those. And just like that, third brake light. I didn't get into a whole lot of this, how I installed it. There's 4 screws, take them out, snip the wire, hook up the other 2 wires off of this light. Black is black, red goes to green. That's all you gotta do. Screw it back in, voila. All right, so now let's pull the interior panel out of the back of the truck so that way we can access the whole back end inside of this hatch, because we gotta, like I said, cut holes for the spotlights, and we gotta remove our windshield wiper motor. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this wiper blade. It's like a little bolt, a little nut, undo that, pop it off, and easy peasy. I'm not gonna go into a whole bunch of detail on that either, so let's get going. All right, so I have this plastic interior piece off. I'm gonna go ahead and pull down this vapor barrier. You can see I've used some Lowe's Tyvek tape, home wrap tape. You can use duct tape to put it back on there. Just make sure you put it back on there. I think I'm actually out of duct tape or something like that. So I'm gonna have to get something or do it later. All right, so this is gonna be kind of hard for you to see in here, but this is the passenger side back of this hatch. If you can see this little lighted spot, that's the silicone where they drilled out them holes, and when they got ready to sell it, they just put silicone on it and called it good. Now, I also have, like, right next to this little bracket here, I guess it's a bracket, there's a hole where they put in a screw, and then on this side, there's another hole. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this door down, and I'm gonna show you that's kind of what's going on from the outside. Now, before I start cutting into this, I am gonna put back my interior panel. I'm just gonna put it up temporarily, because when I take this grinder to going, that thing will throw sparks inside of this truck, and it could burn down the truck, because sparks go in there and land on the carpet. So let's shut this hatch, and let's look at it from the other direction. All right, so we're on the outside of the truck here. Here are these 2 holes. This is the silicone they had stuck in them. This is where I guess they had wires coming in or out or something. But these little holes here and here is basically where they had screwed some self-tapping screws in there to hold these police lights on the back of this truck. Now I can't go any further this direction because there's that bracket on the inside of this hatch that you'd get into, but I need to be starting somewhere right in the neighborhood of this hole and moving this way. So here is a spot lamp that we're going to be using, so I guess I could just kind of turn it around, get a general idea of where I want it to go. See, I can't use that hole because it's sticking out up here. So what I'm thinking about is trying to put it about middle ways, like this, set it back just like that. So that it's still, all my holes are still lined up with each other as far as when I put a new hole here and here to, mount these. It'll be here and here. Of course, this light is a lot wider, so when I make this cut, it's actually going to cut all this out. The only screw or hole will remain will be this one. So I think I'm going to go something like that. All right, so now what I need to do is I'm going to get my measurements on this light, and I'm also going to double check real quick before I cut a big hole in this hatch, how deep this goes. Alrighty, so there wasn't a template in that box, but what there was an actual size of hole that you needed to make. So what I did is I made a template right here off the cardboard that the box came in. So basically, the hole for this spotlight opening needs to be 2 7/8 inch tall by 3 1/8 inch wide. Now, this right here is the original hole for that screw that held the that police light in right there. So what I've done is I've measured over 1/2 inch for where I want to start my line coming down to start cutting. And that's because there is about a 1/2 inch gap between this hole and the side of there. So what that'll do is that'll put all 3 of my drill holes in the same spot. So, but I want to make sure that this is in the same spot as the other side. I want to make sure they're all level and square with each other. So 1/2 of 2 inches and 2 7/8 is 1 1/8 inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of, where these 2 drill holes were, I'm just going to kind of make me a little connecting line. Like that. I guess I could check and make sure everything's level. Yeah, it's pretty level. Not too bad. Good enough. So now what I got to do is put my halfway mark right here on there. Just like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get it level. Like that. And I can just trace me a line around just like this. And that's going to be the hole we're going to cut out. We're going to be using a grinder with a wheel of death on it, I guess you could say. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump on this other side and make this same mark. Alrighty, so I'm ready to start cutting out these square holes for these spot lamps. Now, I am in this apartment complex. I'm trying not to make too much noise, but this is a grinder with the wheel of death on it. So I'm going to be quick as I can. You may want to wear some eye protection, ear protection, gloves, full body suit, whatever you want to do. I have on these safety glasses, so that's what I'm going to be wearing. So I have a bucket of water here also in case some of these sparks try to catch something on fire. I can put it out. I don't have a fire extinguisher on me. So while nobody's looking, let's jump out here and cut these holes out. Alrighty, in my rush to hurry up and get these cut out, I forgot to hit the record button. So you missed me cutting these 2 squares out. Nothing major. But if you are using the good old wheel of death here to cut these holes out, which that's what I would recommend that you use. Remember when you're cutting with those, be careful because you can cut your finger off, wear eye protection, hair protection, all that good stuff. But when you're cutting into metal like this, it heats up really fast. And what it can do is kind of warp your metal. Now, being that this hatch was already pretty much ruined to begin with because of those holes that were already drilled in there, I didn't really care if it warped it a little bit. I tried to get in, make my cuts, and get out. I made straight cuts, all the way around, and got out, and then I just I had a bucket of water. I kind of took a rag and just kind of cooled it off real quick. Now, I have the lights sitting here, as you can see. Let's just go ahead and pop them in the hole to kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like. not too bad if you ask me. It looks better than just holes in the back of my truck. And these lights I'll be able to use, you know, in the future. I'm gonna put them to a switch because I am going to put in an overhead console in my truck, and up there I'm gonna put some switches for some lights here, and then one day I'll get a roof rack put up here. There'll be some lights on the roof rack. So I'll have some switches for each set of lights. But probably in the next week or so, and I'll do this off camera, when these tail lights come in, because I was hoping they'd come in today, but they seem to have not made it. They're just sitting around in Lexington, Kentucky at the UPS place for a day or two. So next time I'm off work and I have a chance to do the tail lights, I'll go ahead and wire these spotlights up into my reverse lights temporarily. Long term, they'll be on the switch. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go in here, get these lights squared up, and get my holes drilled for my bolts. And it did come with the hardware, so I have to drill at least 8 holes for these bolts to go through, and it comes with a little Allen wrench and all of these little bolts and hardwares and fasteners for this. So I'm gonna get them leveled up where they're supposed to be, dot my places for my bolts that need to go through there. I'm gonna measure these bolts, see what size they are and what kind of drill bit I'm gonna use. I'm gonna make 8 holes in the back of this truck for this hardware. So let's get started. In this set, you get your 2 lights, you get 8 of these little bolts, you get 8 lock washers and 8 nuts. What I'm going to do, if I can find it, is I'm basically just going to take these 4 screws, bolts, and I am just going to put them in there like this. I'm just going to insert it into this hole and make sure all these 4 bolts go through the holes. What I'm kind of doing is I'm kind of checking. Looks like I got one hole that's kind of off. So what I'm going to do is run that drill bit through there and kind of square it up. Like that. So in order to do this, what I'm going to have to do is kind of keep this door about halfway up. Because now what I can do is I can go inside and start threading on my nuts and onto the back of the bolts. So that's what I'm going to do real quick. I'm going to go ahead and start running the nut and lock washer on the back of these bolts on the inside of this hatch. All right, so that's going to be a wrap to this video. As you can tell, I did get the 3rd brake light in. I kind of like the way it looks. It's got the halo effect to it. It kind of reminds me of the lights that's on our Ford Fusion and our Ford Edge. And that's a new vehicle that's coming to the channel. It's a 2018 Ford Edge Sport. So stay tuned for that. Also, got not third brake light, but the wiper motor put in. Now the thing about these is once you get your wiper motor put in, you don't want to put the arm on it just yet. Get it installed, go to the truck, turn it on, turn the wiper on, let it run for 20-30 seconds, then turn the wiper off and turn the truck off. What that does is it allows the wiper motor to reset, and then all you have to do is come back here with your arm and install it with your wiper arm in the cradle. Tighten it up. Now the reason why my wiper's not in the cradle now is because it's working. So as soon as I turn it off, it'll go back down into its cradle. The other thing that I got was we'll call them spotlights, wherever they're at. Got those installed. They're not hooked up right now, but like I said, I did not get my tail lights in today, but I will off camera, I will install my new tail lights and I will hook up these spotlights to the reverse lights temporarily. Now my third brake light, my wiper motor, spotlights, and the tail lights, y'all helped pay for them. Because everything that you've seen in this video today, with the exception of the tail lights, was the money that I got from YouTube. This was my 4th YouTube check, was $135. So I thank each and every one of y'all for supporting the channel and subscribing and liking and commenting and all of that, because that's what's helping my channel grow and me to buy more parts for these vehicles. I do have a lot of stuff planned with this this Ford Edge and the Fusion. I got some stuff coming up with those. I'm doing some work on this truck off camera. That's mechanical. It's not really entertaining as much as even this, but I'm doing some of those things to get it prepped and ready and where I don't have to worry about it anymore. But once again, thank y'all for the $135 and all the free parts that I got. So that's going to be it. Like, subscribe, comment, share with your friends. I got to turn this thing off. It's going to run the battery down. See you in the next video, and have a blessed day.